So I think the question that's kind of hanging over the market when it comes to this whole story, is there something meaningful that investors need to keep in mind when it comes to some of this tension between the president-elect and the chairman of the Fed?
The important thing is that the Fed is given independence by Congress. So you literally need an act of Congress to take away that independence from the Fed. So as long as that doesn't happen, the Fed can operate monetary policy in line with its objectives. And it has a dual mandate, and that is 2% inflation and maximum employment, and also maintaining financial stability. That's kind of their third unofficial mandate.
All right. So everything you're saying is 100% factual, of course, Dana. President-elect Trump, though, is known to be a bit of a maverick. I just want to play a quick soundbite from the last Fed press conference. We heard Jay Powell basically answer the question in a very direct manner if he would resign if President-elect Trump asked him to. We're going to play it here.
Some of the president-elect's advisors have suggested that you should resign. If he asked you to leave, would you go?
No.
Can you follow up on, do you think that legally you're not required to leave?
No.
Do you believe that the president has the power to fire or demote you, and has the Fed determined the legality of a president demoting at will any of the other governors with leadership positions?
Not permitted under the law.
Not what?
Not permitted under the law.
Thank you.
So just, Dana, back to your point, it would take Congress, but we did have it looks like a complete red sweep here. Also, just that tone from Fed Chair Jay Powell after the previous tensions between him and the president could lead to some unexpected consequences. Is there anything as this continues to play out that investors should be mindful of at all? And in your mind, does this tension, does this influence the Fed's decisions or Jay Powell's thinking going forward, whether we're talking December or meetings after that?
Well, again, as long as Congress does not make any changes to the Fed's ability to be independent, the Fed is going to continue doing what it's doing. Certainly, it's going to be data dependent, looking at what's coming in with regards to GDP, inflation this morning, also the labor market, looking at financial conditions. Are they loose? Are they tight? The Fed's just going to continue doing what it's doing. Now, there will be challenges in terms of what the path of rates look like next year, and a lot of that's going to be dependent upon which policies come out of the new administration.
Also have CPI coming up today. Expected to tick up just a bit. When we're talking about CPI just ticking up just a bit, there's parts of it that seem to be stickier than other parts. One of them is really insurance. That seems to be one part that just seems to stay the same. Double-digit increases in recent months. How is the Fed going to view a possible uptick in inflation, slight as it may be? How does that influence their decision going forward?
Well, Chair Powell did say that inflation is still elevated. It's not at their 2% target. I think underneath that, there was an admittance that, yes, there's stickiness, especially in the core. And some of the stickiness comes from insurance costs. Certainly, car insurance is higher because cars are smarter. Housing insurance is higher because we keep having these really bad weather events and droughts and flooding, things like that. And also health insurance is rising as our population ages. That's something the Fed can't really control. The other piece of inflation, I think that's really putting upward pressure on the core is still wages. And that's because wages, even though they're not growing as fast, they're still quite elevated as companies are, some of them are still struggling to keep workers, especially as baby boomers retire. So I think the Fed's going to be paying close attention to that. But I think the good news is that housing, our shelter cost inflation, is going to continue to slow. And we know that if you look back at housing prices about 18 months ago, that pretty much tells you where shelter costs are headed, and that's downward.